the children of ISIS fighters and ISIS mothers that would come out was they need our help. They need the enemy's help, us being the enemies. And the fact that we helped them and we didn't hurt them. I had women come up to me and say, you know, if you were in my position, I would have killed you. Or if you had been wounded, we would just let you die. Why are you helping us?
It was waking up every morning, getting this bad news about your loved ones, that they're gone. Waking up every day to this feeling of fear, of not knowing if you're gonna make it.
There's some groups in Libya and the militias, some even Daesh members killed family members and who harmed my family members. So we were afraid to be there.
How do I survive this 1 second? How do I survive in the next few hours? And how do I survive the next few days? Also depends if someone grieving is within the environment of being understood. Because in the case of Rwanda, the entire country had died together.
And when your husband dies, then you have to reborn as a widow.
In Nepal and in South Asia, the women who have lost their husbands have to go through a lot of a code of conducts, which is truly inhuman practices. They don't have realized that how the women have to go through after their husband's death, how the widowhood is being considered as a curse. It should not be. Widowhood is not a curse.
You're so beautiful. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
TAPS has brought together countries from around the world who have lost loved ones in conflict, whether that is through the International Committee of the Red Cross, the Coalition to Fight Daesh, or the United Nations. And we've given those families the chance to speak out and have a voice.
Saying there's no way to go back to their home.
Right.
It's all gone.
It's all gone.
We want to go back to our houses and homes and get the life started again.
It's so important that we focus on healing grief and rebuilding trust as a pathway to peace for conflict survivors. They have a powerful voice, but it's a voice that has been shattered by devastating loss. I had the opportunity to serve in Iraq in 2003 and 2004, not as an Air Force Reserve officer, but as a member of the Coalition Provisional Authority, bringing opportunity and freedom to a people that had suffered and struggled for decades under the rule of Saddam Hussein. So to go back in 2017 and to see the destruction that ISIS had wrought on that country was absolutely devastating. When we went to the camps, we talked to people to learn their needs, to find out what they were experiencing. A woman came running up to me and she had a picture of her son. She hadn't seen him in 3 years.
My heart breaks for you.
She had no idea if he was dead or alive. He had been taken by ISIS. The people here have suffered so much. But what we can do is come alongside them and help heal their broken hearts. We can engage the thousands of families of America's fallen heroes in providing support because they have walked this same journey and they understand the grief that is felt when a loved one is taken in conflict. We have the opportunity to heal hearts and build peace and create a community that is founded on trust. In Mosul, for example, we have over 10,000 surviving American military family members who have lost a loved one just in that region.
Who wants to go? You want to go first? Okay. My name is Theo. I'm 8 years old. My dad's name John. He was a gunnery sergeant. He died by a bomb in Iraq.
For our families who have lost loved ones in military conflict, their grief is part of their life forever. Regardless of how politics change or military engagements shift, for our families, they are forever connected. Through Zoom and Skype and Teams and all these amazing platforms, we've had the opportunity to connect surviving youth in particular with others around the world, to know that they're not alone in their grief. They understand that they're being heard and recognized and seen.
Yes, I think that's an amazing idea, especially for them. They are feeling helpless. They feel like they need to connect more with people.
When I was in Iraq, I got to meet an extraordinary young man, Helmut, and was so humbled to meet his father, a frontline senior commander in the military conflict there. Helmut grew up worrying about his dad, wondering, would he be killed? Would he be coming home? We're so grateful now that Helmut, true to our word to each other, is doing great things with our help and support.
I want to help these youngsters to ease their pain of grief of losing someone special. I just lost electricity, and I don't know. Is my internet good? Do you hear me well?
Welcome back.
For the last 3 years, I've been living outside of Kurdistan, but from 2010, it was when ISIS came to our borders. They came close to our borders, and at the first couple of years, we lost many heroes of Peshmerga, and after a while, we started to pick up, and there were many families shattered. Everyone was going through a lot to see how this is shattering families, and for me, I was also scared. My father was always there, like even I could maybe once in 2 months I would see him, and there was always a feeling of you would always be scared of if something happened to him. Father just came home, actually.
Hello, how are you?
Yes.
Oh, hello. Oh, it's so good to see you. Oh, we're so grateful for this opportunity to bring America and Kurdistan closer together and to bring stability and security and opportunities for building peace.
جدا قالك تمنونك وعم بشين كردستان وأمريكا بينا بيغا وتشتغل ويبتشيكا وتشتغل معظم شيكين.
بجس من استغلال وتعين صلابة وعين وإشلاه how you call him يعني.
My father says he has many respects for you, and hopefully we will always be helpful with each other.
That is our prayer. Yes.
If there's anything you need, we're always ready.
It's absolutely essential that local communities are engaged, that the healing takes place right where the conflict occurred, that those who are the most hurt are seen and recognized and allowed to grieve their losses.
They were trying to run away, but they had no choice. They didn't let them run away. They didn't let them go far away. And they were torturing them and putting the guns towards their heads. I didn't have the chance to honor my loved ones in my country back in Libya. We don't have the place to go and honor our loved ones because it's very complicated situation, the war we're having. But I went to Iraq, I went to Mosul, I shared my story. I had the chance to honor my loved ones there.
We've had the opportunity to meet extraordinary young peace builders like Fatma Magrahi, who is doing so much for her homeland of Libya to bring together networks of support that will transcend the conflicts and bring trust and hope to the people there.
I started to realize that there were people out there like me sharing the same feelings. That's how when I joined TAPS, I started to meet people from all around the world.
Now they got nothing, and he's wishing for the whole world to be in a better place, without war, without anything bad to harm them.
But I looked up in the tent and it was like all these drawings.
Because their kids were suffering and they were under torture and they saw only bad things. It's been only 7 days there in the camp, and he wanted to make something good for them, something would make them happy, and flowers in the tree, something really nice.
And he said, I want to make my kids feel they're home, that they're home, and when they're sleeping or falling asleep, so they can look at something beautiful. In any conflict zones, about losing your memories or hometown or anything that you had, creating this safe environment, helping them to understand that I am the same. I lost a lot, but here I am today. I'm trying to do good. I'm trying to stand next to you.
This is critical as human beings. We must do this. If we're to move forward in a healthy, positive, productive way, we must create community. We must normalize and validate our experience, and we must understand that we have the power to move forward in safety and security.
My name is Kobe Langley. I'm the Senior Vice President for International Services and Service to the Armed Forces at the American Red Cross. So the Center for Psychosocial Support with the International Federation of the Red Cross and Red Crescent has seen a threefold increase in requests for assistance just over the past decade. The reason why that's important is because in many communities, the idea of providing psychosocial support or behavioral health support is still quite an emerging and novel idea. Shortly before the invasion in Iraq, many members of the Shia community were simply executed, left in mass grave sites. Unfortunately, one of my responsibilities when I was in Iraq was to respond to those types of calls and report them up to the coalition authorities. The community elder was able to positively identify several of the members in that mass grave site. What stuck with me was just the sheer gratitude and thanks from this community, which was totally unexpected. They had no idea where their family members were, even though they were found in this really terrible condition, just in a mass gravesite, wearing all the same clothes they were wearing when they left. You would have thought the reaction would have been different, but it was really almost a reaction of relief and joy that they knew what had happened to their family members. Bonnie Carroll, who is the president of TAPS, is widely regarded as one of the largest and most formidable voices for justice as well as reconciliation for families that have lost a loved one, asking us a pretty fundamental question. If we are humanitarian actors in these settings where people lose their loved ones, what is our role and responsibility? I think that challenge is a challenge that the American Red Cross is up for, as well as many other nonprofits.
The same year that I lost my husband, a brigadier general in the American military, a woman on the other side of the world, Lily Thapa, lost her husband, also a brigadier general, serving in the Nepalese army at the time in Iraq. It's been an honor to watch her as she has rallied widows in her region and stood as an advocate before the United Nations. She's a champion for human rights, and I'm so grateful to count her as a sister on this journey.
It happens to every woman who doesn't have a husband. It's a practice here. I was just 29, when my husband died in Gulf War in Iraq. I lose my identity. People hardly knows about the practices that the widow have to go through, hardly knows about how widows has been discriminated in their homes, in the community and at the workplace. Thousands of cases of sexual violence and rape by the family members, even at the workplace, just because the widows are not independent on their own. 100 years back, there was a kind of a tradition, like after the husband's death, the wives had to be buried in her funeral pyre. So you can imagine, if we were widowed 100 years back, we are all been gone. I started meeting with the army widows that time and helping them on a personal way. Used to bring all these widows in a room, and then we just close the curtain, close the door, and then we just cry, hug each other. After I started the organizations, there was a conflict started in my country. And then that conflict has been increasing widows day by day. When I used to go to village, and people, it was really difficult for me to go because everybody knows that I'm from the army family. I've been kidnapped once in one village, and then when I been able to convince them that I'm not going to open the groups, only widows groups, only from the armies, no matter what their husband's political background. And then they convinced and they released me after a day. They started working together for the reconciliation in the community. That is how we've been succeed to declare many communities as a peace zone. The Maoist wives and the army's wives, together they work for a common cause, to have a peace in the community.
It's not only the issues of Nepal, it's not only the issues of the South Asia, but everywhere in the world, the widows face the same kind of challenges. The issues of the grief, the issues of the sorrows, the issues of the loneliness is same to everywhere. And when I heard about TAPS is been dealing with that kind of issues globally, then I really wanted to join that platform.
As we connect with these families and organizations from around the world, whether it is the India War Widows or the Israeli Defense Forces Widows and Orphans or British War Widows or a new organization like TAPS Ukraine. The opportunity to come together for our international working group as part of Geneva Peace Week brings our families together with experts in peace building from around the world.
There's a new dimension to our conversation since TAPS walked into the room.
Hi, I'm Bonnie Carroll with the Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors, and we represent the families of military fallen around the world. So with us, we have family members from Iraq, Afghanistan, from Rwanda, from Libya, from Turkey, and we've come here to learn from you and to be inspired by you, but also to make this our partnership, our home.
My name is Annika Hilding Norberg, and I'm head of the Peace Operations Peace Building Cluster here at the Geneva Center for Security Policy. We have focused a lot on UN peacekeeping, on peacekeepers, how to strengthen peacekeeping, and even to enhance the safety and security of peacekeepers. Because this has in recent years become more and more dangerous environments, so more and more peacekeepers from all sorts of countries are dying. And of course they have families, they have grieving spouses and children and mothers and fathers, just like national armies have. But there is no such network as I know, that in my 25 years of focus on peacekeeping, I haven't come across the type of network that TAPS has.
We're going to reach out to the 81 countries who are part of the coalition to fight Daesh,
the 177 countries where the United States has a military presence, and the 191 countries that are part of the Red Cross and Red Crescent network. Identify the organizations that they have, the networks that are supporting surviving military families, and invite them to come together. At our panel for Turning War Grief into Positive Peace, we had a diverse group of surviving family members and peace builders and those whose organizations and relationships have paid the price for freedom. Among those was a 19-year-old girl who traveled from Burma and is now on her way back into Syria, where she and her family have been for years, helping those who are dying on the front line.
My name is Sahela Eubank. I am 19 years old and I was raised in Burma, Iraq, Syria, Kurdistan, Sudan, and Thailand.
Sahela Eubank is a beautiful example of a peace builder. She has spent her entire life growing up in areas of conflict. She's learned from a very young age that you can build bridges by just looking into the eyes of those who have truly suffered in so many ways, had so many losses. Even those who have inflicted tremendous violence are still human beings.
I went to Iraq with my family, my father, mother, brother, and sister, and we all worked there with our organization, Free Burma Rangers. And during that time, I was able to make a lot of connections with some of the women that we met when ISIS mothers and wives were fleeing the last stronghold of ISIS.
So here we're giving out diapers to the families that just fled from ISIS. Most of those over that way, and they're trying to escape and hopefully have a better life.
I think some of the feelings I had while helping, especially some of the children that were the children of ISIS fighters and ISIS mothers that would come out, was really a lot of anger towards these parents. And then the parents would blame us. They say, because you're Americans, this is why my child is wounded, why he died, or why we're living in such poverty and why we're suffering so much. That really just made me angry. But I had to overcome that and really pray, God, give me love for these people. I don't feel like they deserve it. And there was especially one connection I made with a mother whose daughter had her leg amputated due to a explosion, or I think it maybe was an IED, and she didn't know about it, and she was about 14 years old. And I remember just talking to her in my little Arabic and trying to learn about her favorite color. And there was one time when I was able to sneak her an apple because we had hardly any fruit and there were thousands of people. But because I wanted to make that little girl happy, I gave her the apple, and then the mother quickly threw a blanket over both of us. And I was a little bit nervous because I was wondering, some of the women had threatened to stab Sue and I before and had come at us, so I was worried she might have attacked me. But when she threw over the blanket, she suddenly they both took off their masks and started to laugh and breathe. And it was like we've all found this little security in hiding. And I gave the little girl the apple and she was so happy just to eat it. And so those small connections where we all realized we were all human in this. There was no religion and no race and no color that separated us, just enjoying a moment of peace together that we had not experienced for a long time.
If we could go forward and impact the next generation through young people like Sahela and others around the world who have the courage to go forward and take a stand to make a difference in any way they can.
I really think that the way in which TAPS International bring colleagues from Afghanistan, from Syria, from Burma, from the United States, from all these very, very engaged countries, even more so engaged individuals, to bring their personal stories is really helping to shape the debate in Geneva.
How do you grieve for 5 brothers and their wives and their children gone? Everybody that you loved. Very hard. My name is Justine Lukiba. What is missing that the TAPS brings across is nobody really pays attention to the victims and the survivors of the conflict all the time. We need to pass the message that these victims and survivors are also real. But I think as we expand the mission of TAPS and we go into cultures and countries and understanding the cause of losses and how to approach it, we can help so many people around the world. And to me, this is what is more exciting about being part of TAPS.
The purpose of the Peace Week is to bring a large array of different organizations here to Geneva in order to share priorities, to share experiences, expertise. And TAPS brings a unique value in this because of the field TAPS is working and the tremendous impact that the organization has had over many countries.
As we come together with the Geneva Center for Security Policy and its peace-building platform, we can do incredible things. We cannot do it alone. We must work together. We must make a difference. There are so many who are struggling in the world right now. We have to step forward, and we have to change lives. The families of those who have served and died in defense of freedom have a voice, and it's a powerful voice. Their loved ones' caskets have been draped with the flag of their nation. They've been honored by the military, by the government, and by the citizens of their country. We now have the opportunity to bring together these widows, these surviving children, these extended families of those who have served and died, to become peace builders, to build trust amongst each other and form a community, to break down barriers, to play sport together, to find education and economic opportunity, and to become the future, not only of their country, but of the world. This is what we can do. This is the voice that we have, and it's a powerful one.
Ladies and gentlemen, after watching this documentary and the live testimonials, we would like to confirm that healing grief and rebuilding trust is essential for those survived by loved ones on their journey towards reconciliation and peace. That's why the work that TAPS International does with military families is so important, and why my colleague and good friend Sheikh Mish'al bin Hamad Al Thani, Ambassador of the State of Qatar to the United States, and the people of Qatar and I are honored to support the research this organization does to help people heal, and honored to join them as they presented at Geneva Peace Week. Thank you.